Hey friends, let's talk Sriracha. I don't know if you've noticed, but there is a Sriracha shortage, which doesn't work in my house because I make way too much pho and I don't feel like spending 38 bucks a bottle on the dark web. So today we're gonna be making a green Sriracha, which actually won't be finished today. This is a few day process, so bear with us. We're gonna show you all of the steps to make your own Sriracha at home. I'm fairly certain that Sriracha is actually made with red jalapenos. They are a little bit sweeter in flavor, a little bit more ripened. However, we went with the green jalapenos for this recipe because I could not actually find any red ones. I definitely think that you can also try maybe serranos or even Thai chilies, maybe not all Thai chilies, but a few in there to get a bit of a different flavor. So we go in and de-stem those. You don't have to cut the tops off, really just if there's stems stuck to them. Keep all of the seeds in, throw those in a blender with some garlic, some salt, and some brown sugar, and pulverize it until it's really, really well broken down. As you saw me coughing there, be careful when you open up the top because you will end up, I guess, pepper spraying yourself inadvertently. And then we're gonna go ahead and put our mix in some mason jars with a nice tight lid and let those sit for a couple of days. So maybe around day 2 or 3, you'll notice that the jars start to become volumized and they start to create air in them. And that's the process of these chilies being fermented. So every once in a while, you're gonna wanna go and shake them just to stir the contents up a little bit, maybe release some of the air out of that, and then put them back. And they sit for, I wanna say 5 to 6 days. These ones specifically sat for 6 days. So you let them sit for that long. On the 6th day, you can take them out and put them back in the blender with some vinegar. Get it really, really well mixed up, and then strain it into a pot and heat it. Now, this mix didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it to, so I went through a couple iterations of heating up the liquid that came out, putting it back in the blender with the pulp, adding salt, adding sugar, blending it again, heating it again, and kind of going that way until it reached the flavor and the temperature that I wanted it to. So I discovered that if we don't put it back with the pulp, it doesn't quite turn out as thick as you want it to. It stays very watery. So I would suggest definitely putting it back with the pulp and getting it as fine as you possibly can. Okay, so after fermenting these for probably about 6 days, shaking it every once in a while, as you feel those bubbles start to form up in the mix itself, we then simmered it and strained it a couple times. It wasn't quite there, so added a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, strained it again, blended it again. This has probably gone through 2 or 3 iterations of blending, heating, sugar, salt, a little bit of that. I think we have something very, very close, just not quite as sweet as you'd get if you took an actual red jalapeno and done the exact same thing with it. So we're gonna do a taste test, regular Sriracha versus green Sriracha, and see where we come out. Okay, regular Sriracha test. Okay, you get a lot of sweetness in the front of it. There's that spice on the back of it. You get that salty sweet all throughout. Now if we go in with the green Sriracha, and don't come at me for this because I am just gonna lick it off the spoon instead of off my finger like I did with this one. It is very, very close. You get a lot of that sweetness at the front, saltiness at the back, heat throughout. It just has that missing component that usually would be in those red jalapenos that you don't quite get from the green jalapenos. Either way, I'd still call it a win. If you're looking for a Sriracha substitute, this is definitely the way to go. You do the green jalapenos, make them ferment for about 5 to 6 days, you know, strain them through your pot, get them in there, get it a little bit heated, drain out a lot of the liquid in the vinegar, put them in a blender, add a little bit of sugar, add a little bit of salt, blend them again, strain them again, and then eventually you get left with this beautiful green mix that is very similar, not quite the same, but very similar, and I promise you will get through the Sriracha shortage with me.